Crime. This is an issue all over the world, and it causes so much unrest. Everyone always says we need to solve the crime here and there, but how can this actually be done? The how is what GOAT, or the Global Organization of Aggression Thwarting, is for. And it's our mission to take this issue seriously and actually make a difference. We have taken action in two main areas, Chicago in the US and in India. And you may ask, why have we focused on these two main areas? And the reason is we want to see the differences in the crime between the two places and use the knowledge we gain to implement it in other places in the world. Chicago is the third most populated city in the US and is located in northeastern Illinois. And the crime rate there is horrible because of the high population and other reasons. Chicago developed to be so large because it became a major hub of transportation, with the Chicago River flowing through it into the Atlantic, and the major railroad hub located there, and World War II commercializing air travel. Chicago has 2,721,308 people as of a 2024 U.S. Census. Chicago had about 444 crimes committed per 100,000 residents as of 2024, and that's actually lower than how it was before that. However, they still have some of the worst crime rates in the country. Chicago deals with many violent crimes like homicide, assault, gun assault, and sexual assault. They also deal with non-violent crimes like robbery and carjacking. Statistics have shown that the people who get most affected by crime in Chicago are of lower income African American and Hispanic citizens. 95% of homicide victims at the ending half of 2025 were of those groups. Racism, gang-related activities, and poverty are the main cause of the massive divide between the amount of African Americans murdered or affected by crime versus white people. Another big issue is the arrest rate in Chicago is very low, with even only one arrest per every 4 homicides and 1 in 10 for assaults. Many people are disappointed in the current mayor, Brandon Johnson's job, because he has defunded law enforcement, which means there's more unpunished crime, and the impoverished minorities will keep getting affected by crime even more. The violence in Chicago is caused by many things, and it's hard to determine the main cause, but there are a few reasons that really contribute to the high crime rate. Chicago has always been a mob and drug central, even long ago, and the mob and drug related violence is very common in Chicago, because it's that central hub in the US for the shipment of drugs elsewhere in North America. Another cause of the extreme violence is there is not enough education and work for young kids, which turns them to commit crimes. One atypical explanation for the high crime rate is fetal alcohol poisoning has damaged many young people's impulse control, leading to spur-of-the-moment shootings. Overall, the main cause of the extremely high crime rates is poverty, because compared to other U.S. cities, the wages in Chicago and the amount of income each household receives is very low. Desperate people do desperate things. The effect on the people of Chicago is the idea that you could be walking to the store and you could get shot or hit by a car. This fear causes anxiety in Chicago and scares people from going out in public. Many people have lost family in Chicago due to homicide, especially in the poorer areas, and many people have anger and violence in their mind because of that. Chicago overall is extremely affected by crime, and much work is needed to reverse that trend to levels at or below other U.S. cities. Now let's talk about India, the country with the most people on the planet. Crime in India is bad, but actually has stayed around the same through the years, unlike countries like the United States. The United States has higher drug rates and murder rates, but also has more police officers. The US ranks number 1 for the amount of crimes per year and for the amount of drug and rape related crimes. India is worse than the United States in the amount of violent crime murder rates, which is the amount of murder including the amount that occurred during other crimes. India has crime rates that are overall very low compared to how high their population is. And even though the data shows that the crime rate has increased more than the population, you also have to account for newer crimes and smaller offenses. The number of violent crimes in India is relatively low, and they have a high amount of minor crimes due to some economic hardship in recent years. The crime in India is caused by many issues, but the main ones are poverty, unemployment, income inequality, low literacy rate, high population density, and increase in drug and alcohol use. Urbanization is increasing in India in recent years as people move away from the country into cities, resulting in more crime with a higher population density. A big concern when trying to analyze the crime rate in countries is how many crimes are unreported. A higher literacy rate results in more crimes being reported, which makes the crime rate look worse than in places where the crimes aren't reported, and the rate looks good. Crime in India is actually not the worst in the biggest cities. It's mostly in smaller cities of less than 3 million people. One worrying problem in India is that over 50% of youth under 25 are uneducated and unemployed because of the lack of economic opportunities. Youth who are unproductive and uneducated are more likely to commit crimes because they aren't busy and have nothing to do. This is similar to Chicago, where a similar issue exists too. One thing I want you to understand is that in the world, the richest people own over 370 times the amount of wealth in the poorest 10%. And because of this unequal distribution of wealth, the lower class doesn't have an opportunity to move up in society, which is a major problem in India. Women and children are most affected by crime in India, with major problems of rape and human trafficking. Crimes against women are very high, with way more of those crimes committed than economic offenses, murder, cyber crimes, and property offenses. India is considered a very dangerous place for women and girls because of the sexual abuse and trafficking. There's a lot of child abuse and domestic violence in poorer families in India, and elderly crimes are more common in large cities because less care is taken to them due to poverty. The effect on the communities in India is people getting hurt because of violent crimes, and especially women and children being afraid to go outside in certain areas because of the threat of being abducted. Now that I've explained the problems in both India and Chicago, I want to explain what GOAT has done to combat these problems and what we have accomplished already. GOAT is a non-profit organization that was created in 2020 to combat crime that rose rapidly during COVID. And then we set our sights to not just reducing crime from COVID, but also for the future. Our first headquarters was in Chicago, and we operate out of a really small building. But as we received donations from people all over the country, we were able to expand our facilities elsewhere. GOAT has expanded to have headquarters in India as of late 2025, and we are gaining knowledge from our work there and the US to eventually help prevent crime all over the world. The GOAT organization's goal is to make the world's cities safer by taking new approaches to the problem of crime. Crime plagues every place on earth, and it's our goal to make the life enjoyable and safe in the most crime-ridden places by supporting the enforcement of laws and helping to create new ones. How our organization works is receive funding from sponsors and use that money in our locations to help support law enforcement with additional funding and even help them during investigations, to help comb through data and find useful information related to the case. We also use what we learned from crime investigations, what some of the main crimes to worry about are, and what laws would help prevent those crimes from being committed. There's two main aspects of crime stopping: creating rules and enforcing them. We help with both by actually creating new laws to be approved by the state and helping investigations. Society changes over time, and with that, the crimes committed changes too, like how cyber crimes weren't as common before the 1970s, and with new crimes, laws need to change too. In both India and Chicago, among other places, there are more of these contemporary crimes, and with that, laws have to change. At GOAT, we take a look at the crimes committed and target the cause of these crimes. We'll try to pass laws that give more consequences for crimes to help deter people from committing them. Now, to help explain the other thing we specialize in here, let me tell you a scenario. There's a drive-by shooting that's taken place, and there are many different people all over the area that have their own series of events they claim took place. It can be very overwhelming for detectives and police to try to put all the pieces of information together, especially with other crimes happening too. If police get too overwhelmed, then the case might go cold. We want to try to stop that, because when criminals get away, it signals to other criminals that they can get away with crimes too. At GOAT, we put the data with our team of specialists to help crack hard cases and have even solved cold ones. We have seen in both Chicago and India that if you set the right laws and help the police enforce them, then the criminals of society will learn that even though it's easy, crime doesn't pay. We have helped crack over 800 cases in the cities we work in, and have even cracked 82 cold cases and brought those people to justice. We at GOAT want people to feel safe in their lives without worrying about criminals, and we work hard every day to help bring gangs, criminals, and abusers to justice. Sometimes law enforcement doesn't get enough support, and we work hard to help them detain criminals. We've gone so far, but we still have so far to go. We help you support law enforcement, and we hope to support law enforcement all over Asia and North America by 2040. And to achieve this, we need support from amazing people like you. Please give us support at our website. Only a few dollars can help save so many lives.